Okay, we will be presenting our next proof, which is proof number 8. This particular proof, I call it the Levitical order of priests. The Hebrews, like the Hebrews in the Bible, have a priestly clan. This priestly clan, we have a priestly clan that in Igbo, if you come to any Igbo village, if you ask any Igbo person you come across, we have a priestly clan that count our years, that count our calendar, keep our calendar. They offer sacrifices and prayers and oblations and everything to God. We have this priestly clan. Like I mentioned, this our tradition now has been mingled with idol worship. So most of these things are being done now to idols. But however, if we go to the book of Olaudah Equiano, and I mentioned he is an Igbo man that was sold into slavery, he was 11 years old. He gave a chronicle in this book of our communities before idols or before slavery came in. Now let's quote directly from what he wrote in his book. He said, though we had no places of public worship, we had priests and magicians or wise men. I do not remember whether they have different offices or whether they are united in the same persons, but they were held in great reverence by the people. They calculated our time and foretold events. As their name imported, for we call them Afọwaka, which signifies calculators or yearly men, our year being called Afọ. They wore their beards, and when they died, they were succeeded by their sons. Now, he said here that this priestly clan is hereditary. When they die, they are succeeded by their son. It's hereditary, and they wore their beard. If you go and look at Leviticus chapter 21, the priests, the children of Levi, the sons of Aaron, were not allowed to shave their beards. In Leviticus chapter 21, they were not allowed to shave their beards. So they wore their beards. Now, this priestly clan in Igbo land existed. And if you read the book of Olaudah, they only bury themselves. They don't touch the dead, the corpse of other people. They are only buried by themselves. Go and read Deuteronomy chapter 14. You will see this thing. It was given as a law by the Most High to the Levites. They should leave their beards to grow. They shouldn't cut it. And they should not be defiled by the dead of other people except their kinsmen. We practice this in Igbo land. Let's read from what Olaudah wrote here. He said, none accompanied their funerals, but those of the same profession or tribe. These buried them after sunset and always returned from the grave by a different way from which they went. This was our practice in Igbo land, and the Most High has preserved one of us, Mr. Olaudah Equiano, to chronicle this thing in our day, to remind our people to come back to him. So we have a priestly clan. In fact, if you read the book of Olaudah Equiano, which is just his autobiography written by himself, he is the existence of this priestly clan that convinced him the most that we are descended from the Bible. It's the existence of this priestly clan. So this clan, you are hereditary, it's by blood. Somebody does not just come out and say, I'm now a bishop of God, come and pay tithe to me. Are you kidding me? It's by blood. You have to be from the tribe of Levi. The Most High has ordained people that will offer sacrifices to him. And they were doing that in Igbo land until the slavery came and took them. And again, this particular tribe, this particular priestly clan was the one that was mostly targeted for the slave trade. They were targeted to be destroyed by the slave trade. And when they were sold into slavery, their children, because I mentioned earlier from what Olaudah wrote, they wore their beards. They were not allowed to cut their beards. When they were sold into slavery, their children, now that led to what you call the Rastafari system in Jamaica, where people keep their beards and it just grows. And this is the children of the people that have been sold to slavery, the children of Levi from our communities that were sold to slavery. This is the vestiges of what they remember. And like I said, in this presentation, I will prove to you that the Igbos were the most sold to slavery. So when they were sold to slavery, they just, whatever they remember of the practices, they just started keeping their beards, and that led to the Rastafari system that is going on in Jamaica and neighboring countries. But we have this Levitical order. They offer oblations and sacrifices to God. They kept our calendar. We have an Igbo calendar, and like I'll be showing you in this presentation, the Igbo calendar is exactly the same as the biblical calendar. If you go through the Bible, if you go through the book of Enoch, you will see that the Igbo calendar is exactly that. If you understand it, for those of you who actually understand the Igbo calendar, and I recommend anybody to go to their village, if you're an Igbo person, and ask anybody, you see that it's the exact same calendar that we used to maintain, and we still do maintain those. So we had this Levitical order of priests, and I made an assertion here. I said that this this priestly clan was the one that was mostly targeted for the slave trade. And I don't want to leave an open-ended statement here, and let me prove it to you. You see, in Igbo land during the slave trade, and even after the slave trade, these so-called missionaries, these so-called colonial masters, they went into all the Igbo villages. And when I say all, I mean all Igbo villages. They got a bunch of miscreants, a bunch of villagers that that are not up to any good. They paid them small amounts of money and convinced them to go to the places of worship and desecrate it, to kill the priests and to defile the places of worship. And that's what was done in almost all Igbo villages. All the places of worship during the slave trade, the chief priests will be taken to slavery, will be kidnapped and stolen to slavery, and the places of worship were completely desecrated. Items of worship will be stolen. The excuse the white man gave us then was that they want to put these images or these items in their museums. Really? But that is not correct, because if they wanted items to adorn their museum, they could have just asked anybody to carve something for them. We have people that can carve anything, even for free, for them. And the other reason I know that's a lie is because Igbos have traveled all over the world. We are yet to see any item of Igbo land that was taken by the colonial masters in any museum. Where are they hiding it? I mean, we've seen the ones they took from the Benin Kingdom. We've seen the ones they took from Nok, Nupe Kingdom. Where are the thousands they stole from Igbo communities? Where are they? You see, those items were not, in my opinion, those items were not the reason that those places of worship were desecrated. They were not the reason. The reason was to destroy that Levitical order of priests. They've studied our people, and they know that we have this priestly clan, just like it was in the Bible. And their intention was to destroy it so that they can rule in their modern Christianity. And boy, has it worked. So we have this in Igbo land, we have this Levitical order of priests. We have this priestly clan that is hereditary. Some people still do exist today that practice this kind of, execute these priestly duties in our communities. I've actually studied a number of them in different Igbo villages, and you will see a disconnect from the Testament of Olaudah, because we've intermingled our cultural practices with idol worship. However, it's important for every Igbo person to note that some 300 years ago in our communities, we did not worship to idols, we did not sacrifice to idols, we did not do those things. We did these sacrifices to the Most High. And I recommend reading the book of Olaudah to anybody, so that you understand what was actually obtainable and our people, and to see the proof that we really are the people of the Bible.